everybody, CW here. We got a little bit of a project. You've probably seen a previous video where I had my Howa 1500 6mm rem out with a new Oric stock. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but about the second shot in, I had a pierced primer. Now, it was not a hot load by any means. It was actually a starting load, and it was actually one I only loaded 2 for because I wasn't even concerned about its outcome other than where it came from with pressures. And the velocity reading on it, I don't even think was 2,800 feet per second with a 105 or 108 grain bullet. So it was a pretty light load. And as it turned out, I was able to shoot right up to and pass the book maximum, just like normal. And largely that's because it's a throated 6mm rem. I'm shooting a 3-inch overall bullet length. So my bullets are seated completely in the neck. Nothing gets into the powder capacity like on a regular 6mm. Regular 6mm is set up to be fired at about 28 inches in a short action. So I have a little more powder volume, but I also have a lot less pressure building at the same levels of powder charges because I have more internal volume. Anyway, my point in telling you that is just that, you know, it wasn't a popped primer from the firing pinhole. It burst in the side. I should dig out the case and show you. It burst in the side, totally away from the firing pin strike. And what it did was it blew gases out and under my ejector here. This is an AR-15 style ejector. And it actually blew debris underneath here. And I'll see if I can zoom you in to see. And I don't think well, yeah, I guess. See the gap? The gap, this is extractor. It's supposed to be pushed up tight against the body of the bolt, and it's not because there's debris down in there. So when I opened the bolt, stuff dropped in there or was blown in there. And now when you put a case in and go in and out of the chamber, it just comes right out. So it took me 2 and 3 times working the bolt before it could possibly grab a little bit to pull a case out. Or I just raised the muzzle up at the sky and jiggle the gun and the cases fell right out because there was no pressures. But, you know, that's not really safe range conduct. Yeah, you're pointing it up in the air, but, you know, you're on a range and you just shouldn't be doing those things. So, and I wasn't comfortable running a rod in the barrel every single shot. You're gonna screw up your rifling. You're gonna screw up your crown. You're gonna ding something. You know, it's one thing doing it at home, nice and easy, but it's another thing at the range, every single shot to knock out a case. You're better off not shooting. So I just worked the bolt a couple times, jiggled it, tipped it back, and the cases fell out. So what we're going to do here is we're going to drive out this pin, clean out the channel, clean everything out, brush it all out, wipe it all down, and put it back together. And this is not alterations, YouTube. This is not alterations. This is gun cleaning and maintenance. This is something that probably should be done every once in a while anyway, because the design of this is such that debris can get in there and it's going to make your firearm unsafe through what it causes, not extracting. So this is not maintenance. This is not an alteration. This is gun cleaning. So we're going to show this. This is how I do it. More than likely, you can probably just hold your thumb over here because there's a spring under here. There's your pin, and the spring pushes out this way and pushes in this way to grab your rim. And its fulcrum is that cross pin that goes right through. Comes out there, goes in there. So we're going to drive this out while we're holding the extractor down. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of leather And I'm going to wrap it around here. Actually, I'm going to do it this way. Wrap it around here. I'm going to take a vice grip, put it on here like this, just to hold that extractor from coming out as I put this on the vise and drive out that pin. So unfortunately, I can't get my camera over to my vise. So I'm just going to go in speedy mode here, open this up, and come right back when I got it out and show you what I got. Okay, and we've got it driven out. It was a little bit of a bugger, and I drove it out. The way it goes in, I wanted to drive it back out that way, because that's the way it goes in, but it wouldn't move. I couldn't get it to move, and I actually bent my punch. But we got it now, and it's actually not under very much pressure at all. If you could have held it, you could have got it with your thumb easy enough. And you can see the debris that's in here. I don't want to lose that spring. So we get that out of there, and we'll let Mr. Hillbilly hold on to that for us. Put this down over here. And I'm just going to get my toothbrush, because it's not going to take that much at all. And we're just going to brush this out. All that was in there was powder residue and primer residue, maybe a little bit of brass. I don't know, but it was enough on this surface right here. I'm sorry, I'm zoomed in so close, I keep moving out. So I'll zoom back a little bit. On this surface right here, because this little detent, this little hump out here, is the fulcrum, you know, where it tips, where it comes in and out. And back here was for the spring. So we got our spring set aside. So let's just clean off this part, which is the actual extractor. Everybody always gets extractor and ejector. I think we all know what is what. Extractor is what this is, and it grabs onto the case and it extracts it. Ejector kicks it out of the case. Now I'm surprised. I do have a shiny spot on here. Now I got to get this under the microscope and look at that really close, but I didn't see any chip outs or anything. So I'm going to go check again with my really good eyes and the magnifier, and I'll come right back. Yeah, it's just a shiny wear spot. There's nothing there. Nothing there to worry about whatsoever. And then this little bitty spring. I doubt there's anything in here, but we'll just give this a brush out. Now we're going to put a little bit of oil inside here. I'm going to use my favorite oil, which is Ezox, because it goes on wet, but it dries and leaves a residue. It's not really so much for lubrication as for corrosion resistance. Now it goes in there wet, but it will dry. This rag is saturated with the stuff. Oh, where'd my... Okay, I was worried about my spring. And we're going to use the same thing on the inside of here, just to get a coating on there. We're going to let it dry. And just like in our tests, the tests that I did, you should have watched that video, where I sprayed down nails and left them outside in the rain and the weather. They did not rust for months and months and months outside in the weather. So in a gun protected that's not going to see much weather at all, you can imagine how good it's going to work. All right, that's it. Now I left the pin in there, so it's just a matter of driving that pin back through. Shouldn't be as big a deal. You're going to have to locate it, you know, in position here where it needs to go. So there's a little bit of finagling, but now you can see that that extractor can close all the way. That's how it moves. It can close all the way, and then it will extract the cases like it's supposed to. So that's it. That's the fix on this. Don't be afraid of these things. You can do them. Just think about what you got. You do have YouTube to watch videos like this. I'm sure there's other videos out there on AR-15 extractors, and this is an AR-15 style, so it's about the same. Yeah, it's a little bit different, but it's about the same. And there you go. So this is something absolutely you can fix. Get a good loop, magnifying glass, maybe zoom in with your phone, or if you're younger and you got good eyes, maybe you can just see it. But just make sure that the claw itself isn't cracked, because it's very hard. It can crack. Make sure it's good, and then figure out what's going on. And you may also have debris down in there if you have a problem like I did, which was just extracting cases that you knew were not stuck. They just couldn't come out. And in the Howa, it's quite a bit in there. So I mean, it's in there far enough that it's dark, so you can't really tell that there's a case head in there. So it was kind of hard to figure out initially, but that's all taken care of now. Just brush that out since we're here. We got the oil in there, and we're just going to put this back together, and I'll come right back. Stand by. What I did was I put it in, got it in position, and I tapped on the pin, and it pinched and bound the extractor. And then I just moved it around until I felt it go tink, and now it's not in there. It needs to be driven through, but it's enough in there just starting into the hole that it is lined up. Now I just put it on the vise and drive it in the rest of the way, and then get the punch. And we're driven in about halfway now as far as the lug will let us. And I'll just get the punch and drive it in the rest of the way. But there we go. And it's much better. It comes all the way over now. All the way over in there. And you can see that it's going to grab really well. All right, let me get this driven all the way. Punch. 99% back to straight. And the leather took the brunt of the clamping. I used my other vise too, along with the vise grips. Piece of leather is great tool to have for your bench for this kind of stuff where you don't want to mar anything. And putting everything away, we have a bolt. It's just as good as new, ready for its duties. Oh, grabs it much better. Yep, no more problems with that. There we go. So just a quick tip. If you have bad extraction or problems all of a sudden, and you got this style extractor, take a look and see. Maybe you got something caught underneath there. You know how easy I can move that with my finger? This isn't something that's going to go flying. I just used the vise grips, just to make sure that nothing moved while I drove that pin out. Just a simple little thing. And there you can see the end of the pin. And you got to go below flush over here because it's going to hang up on your lugs in your raceway. But just make sure you're below flush, back the way it was. And there you go, all fixed. Ready for more range time. All right, everybody, there we go. A little bit of range maintenance, a little bit of bolt maintenance. You can do this stuff. You don't need to pay somebody. Learn how to do it yourself, and a little better self-sufficiency. God bless. CW out.